Welcome back. Last time we worked on the walls of Freeport, and today we are going to take a look at what I've done in between episodes and also at the new courtyard design you can see behind me here. So what I've done is to work on the color coding of the courtyard. I've added the third color I talked about doing. I'm thinking for the different divisions of Freeport, North, South, East, and West Freeport, we're going to have different color-coded pavements. And for North Freeport, this is sort of the Paladin and Cleric area. Also, a few other guilds are going to be up here. So we're going to go with a clean and classic white and black. And you'll also notice in between episodes, I have dumped the water in the fountain, so that's now full. And I've also added a few statues around here. We have some lion statues here. Two of them guarding the cathedral here. And we also have some knight statues on pedestals. Well, these are really here as decorations for the courtyard. I think they look pretty good. I might change the color to another one, but I'm thinking blue looks alright. They're made out of blue and nether brick. Nether brick in the texture pack I'm using is black, by the way, instead of the ugly purple. And I've also added a knotwork pavement here to tie into the courtyard from the main gate of North Freeport. And there are several smaller designs for smaller roadways. Because one of the things we're going to talk about here in a minute is going to be city planning. Because we need to think about how people are going to be moving around this city. And as far as I can tell, when they did the original layout for this in EverQuest, I think they were mostly constrained by the technology of the time, which is why it was all broken up into different zones and was laid out as it was. But this is kind of a new slate. We are going to rebuild Freeport in our image. So with that in mind, let's take a circuit around the walls here and see how they have come out. I have lowered all these little towers like I talked about doing last time. There's nothing in them at the moment, but eventually I want to have the top of the walls and the towers all accessible so you can walk around the entire thing, which means we're going to need to add stairways and various things up there. And this is, of course, where the guards on top of the walls would be standing, looking out the battlements across the common lands, see if an army is trying to invade. Looks clear at the moment. And let's go around here. And then we have the walls clipped into the terrain here. I still need to go through here and do a little hand terraforming around the edges here and remove some of these stray leaf blocks like that one and several other ones, but I will do that off camera. And over here we have the southernmost extent of the Nectalos forest. The road to Norrath is over there. It's going to be a while before we get to Norrath, though. There's the road that leaves Freeport. We're going to have another gatehouse over here for that. It's not currently installed. And here we are around the seawalls. I need to extend the foundations of the walls directly into the sea. I haven't done that yet. You can just see they're kind of sitting on top of the terrain here at the moment. And ignore this over here. This is just where I've dumped off the various elements I need for building. That's going to be gotten rid of once I'm done with the walls here. So this is the extent of North Freeport. I've also added in between episodes some flags on top of the cathedral, which you may or may not have noticed. They're blue at the moment, but I'm thinking I want all sorts of different colored flags representing what sort of building it is. Because this building is doubling as the Paladin and Cleric Guild Hall, I thought a blue and white with black accents worked well for this building. And down here we will fly over East and West Freeport. There's also a South Freeport I've added because I know that there is no South Freeport in EverQuest 1. However, there is in EverQuest 2. So I'm going to split the difference and add a South Freeport, because when I was laying out the walls here and thinking about that, it made sense to have a South Freeport. And that's going to be the home of all sorts of brigands and unsavory characters, I think. And over here, I think we want to recolor this pavement probably with a granite. Be a good red for this area, because this is going to have the Warrior Guild and the Monk Guild, as well as the headquarters of the Freeport Militia is going to be somewhere over here. We'll be designing and building that in the future. And of course we have an equestrian statue here in the middle of this small pavement, which leads out from the gatehouse of West Freeport over here. And I think this is probably going to be a statue of Lucan. Sir Lucan de Lair, the leader of the Freeport Militia. I think the sort of character he has, he would definitely put up a statue to himself that big. And we will probably have the Freeport Militia building, I think, somewhere around here. But as you'll notice, I've got a few grid lines, or a few sight lines laid out here in granite for where the roads are going to go. And they conveniently intersect these towers here, which are going to have gates in them, which lead to the different portions of Freeport. So we will head through that gate into East Freeport, and this is going to be the mercantile center of Freeport. We're going to have docks going off in all directions along this little coast here, with ships at anchor and unloading and loading up things to trade with the other regions and empires and cities of Norrath. Which is also why the walls stop here, and we have smaller walls that line the interior of this over here. Because we can't very well have a big thick curtain wall right here on the seaport. That would just be in the way all the time. So the seaward edge here is going to be rather vulnerable, I think. And I've also laid down another knotwork pattern I'm thinking to put down over here. I'm not sure what the colors would be for the sea area. We might want to go with the blue with that, actually. I think another bedrock and blue and obsidian, possibly. We'll have to think about that. But we definitely need a central market square where we can have taverns along this area and the inn-house over here and shops along here, and we're also going to have some place to put the Freeport Customs House, where the city collects its cut of all the goods that flow through its port. And over here is going to be South Freeport. And out the gate of South Freeport over here is going to enter into the North Desert of Roe. I believe in the game this is actually an entrance into East Freeport, but here it's going to be South Freeport. And we're going to also rearrange some of the things that are in the other sections. I think we're going to put the more unsavory elements of Freeport are going to be in this section. It's going to be a fairly lawless section. Now, for those of you who don't know, Lucan, Sir Lucan at the statue over here, the leader of the Freeport Militia, rules over West Freeport, and he will also rule over South Freeport, and he has a fair bit of influence over East Freeport over here as well. And he is trying to take over the city. But the people here in North Freeport, all the guild masters and the merchants and the bankers and the power brokers and everything over here are preventing him from taking over North Freeport, so he has absolutely no influence over here whatsoever. And I think we will continue that trend, because we're going to have the Bank of Freeport's going to be over here. And I think in all these sections we're going to have an inn and a tavern, and various shops are going to be sprinkled around here. We're also moving to North Freeport the Academy of Arcane Sciences, where we have I think it's the Wizard and the Mage Guild is going to be down here somewhere. which is why we have another section of pavement down here, because I'm going to have to make another courtyard for whatever their building is going to look like. I really don't have any idea what that building is going to look like yet. It's obviously going to share design elements with the cathedral and the walls here, but we need to start thinking about the overall city plan of this and start putting in some roads. And you can see over here this little section of cobble and podzol that I've laid out. This is going to be where we mark out the plots where we're going to put the buildings. And I think the building style for this, we definitely want to go with a sort of ramshackle medieval style. I think we're going to have smaller footprints over here, but I think as things continue up, they're going to be more rickety and overhanging and unstable with interesting sagging roofs that don't quite make sense and chimneys and all sorts of good stuff. I don't think I want to go full steampunk style with it, but we're going to get fairly close. I want it to look more mystical than that would end up being. And that brings you up to speed with everything I have done in between episodes. And now we're going to hop into MC Edit and start looking at laying out some roads. And now since we're in MC Edit, we can get a good bird's eye view of how we can lay out the roads. Because I think one of the things we want to do is we want to have large road sort of arteries that go through the city that are the main thoroughfares for people to get around, to have the flow and everything make sense. And off of these, we will have these little roads that will run around and make the back alleys and the connections to all these smaller places. That's why they are different sizes. Because this road here is 13, I think we can probably overhang that a little bit and get that down to 11, and these are, I believe, 5. And of course the main thoroughfare into the city is larger than that. And we also want to start color coding these roads. As I said, I think we will change this diorite here to a granite, and let's see how that looks. And I will briefly show you how to do that. We have diorite here at the brush menu. Then we want to change it to granite. And we need the brush to be rather larger than that, so we will go with about this big. We will rake it over this area. And there it is, it's all granite. One of the many powerful features we can do in MC Edit that you just can't do in the game. So that doesn't look too bad. It's not quite as high contrast red as I would like. Maybe, what about redstone instead of the granite? Let's try some blocks of redstone here and see how this ends up looking. Well, it's red all right, but it's a little too loud. I believe this is going to be too much red. What about red stained clay? Let's give that a shot. That doesn't look too bad. It's got a very flat texture to it, though. Let's try red nether brick. Oh, yeah. That is just the right contrast with this obsidian and granite, too. I think we may have a winner. It's got that nice dark blood red to it. Definitely suits the warrior-themed area. Wouldn't you think? Yep. We are definitely going with this one. That's definitely the color we want to go with. I believe we also want to change the blue headdress on this to a more warrior red as well. So we go from the paladin area over here with the nice clean and pristine white color to the blood red of the warrior area. Yep. West Freeport is definitely going to have a red theme to it. I think that works really well. Now what we need to do is extend this road and follow these grid lines so they will interact with the rest of the gatehouses around here. So we will take a copy of that, move it around like so, and paste it in. So that's going to be the large roads going through West Freeport complete. I think we will need a lot of space for the Freeport Militia building. I'm not sure if I want to have it over here or over here. It definitely needs to be close to this central courtyard. We'll have to think about that. I think right beside it, definitely we want to have the Warrior Guild. And we need to have an arena, probably somewhere back here, as an extension of the Warrior Guild. We also need to have the Monk Guild somewhere around here, as well as inns and taverns, and I think the weapons shop would probably be suitable to have here. Perhaps a weapons shop and a blacksmith would be suitable. We're going to have another blacksmith up here, somewhere in North Freeport for the Paladins, though. And for the rest of the major roads, we're going to do the same thing, following these granite lines that I've laid out. And we probably want to extend this a little bit further in to East Freeport over here with the docks, so it will interface with this, wherever I'm going to put that down, probably more over here. And we'll have the roads come through like that. And give us a bit more space over here. We'll space them out nicely. So that way, when people are getting around Freeport, they can do so via the major road thoroughfares, and they can also tell what district they're in by what color the roads are. And to that end, I've made this handy illustration, which I've taken from the map resource I showed you last time, and I've divided the city map up with everything that was conveniently labeled out for me that's going to be in each section. The only major changes I've made is to move the Academy of Arcane Science here from West Freeport to North Freeport, because simply I think this is going to be a large structure and we have more space in North Freeport, and it makes more sense for these people to not be in the Red Warrior section. And since I'm also adding South Freeport, which is over here somewhere in our map, I moved a couple of things over there that I think would fit. We're probably going to put a couple more over there. But we're going to have the Necromancer, Shadow Knight, and Rogue guilds are all going to be in South Freeport. Also the Unsavory Freeport Inn, and probably another tavern. And also I think the Herb and the Medicine Shop would be suitable to go into South Freeport. We might also want to have another one of those in North Freeport, though. That might suit the Paladins and the Clerics more. I suppose we could have two. But in the meantime, we can go ahead and crack on and put all these large roads in, because the positions of these are fairly non-negotiable, because they have to line up with the gatehouses here. And this is normally the point I sit and stare at what I built for a while to think about and figure out what the next steps are going to be. So I'm going to do that, and I will join you back in a little while. Alright, I've spent some time laying out the road networks here. For West Freeport, they are pretty much complete. We have our large road networks and our smaller ones. And I don't know about you, but building roads in Minecraft is just very satisfying. You get a real sense of accomplishment from having done this, I think. And while I was at it, I also had a little inspiration to start the Freeport Militia headquarters building, which is going to be this thing here. This is just the bottom of it. I think because they are the Guardians of Freeport, it should carry the same theme as the walls and the towers, but bigger, which is definitely what this is. And it's just a big empty box at the moment, but I think on top we need another another section up here, probably yay big, thereabouts. And on top of that, we will put some sort of roof, I think. I'm not really sure about what kind of roof yet. I think we want to have viewing platforms up here so we can climb all the way up here and have good vantage points on the rest of Freeport. Because if we have guards up here, we would definitely want to have good lookouts that we could see out of. And I have also done the same for the medium-sized roads in South Freeport. I think in between episodes, I will do the smaller roads in between here. I think I'll go ahead and lay them down, and if in the course of building things out we need to shift them over a few blocks, that's easily done. And also the same goes for East Freeport. I've moved the plaza in a little bit, and I moved this road out a little bit. So it will come around here, and we'll have the smaller roads snaking around here. And we'll have warehouses down by the docks, and the docks themselves will kind of jut out like this, and in between them we'll have ships sitting, and I think we'll have a couple of them empty. And we're definitely going to have a sunken ship out here somewhere. That's one of the things I want to add in the future. We have to have quite a lot of shipwrecks out there. And for North Freeport, I have added in some larger roads around the cathedral. I thought since it was so vertically dominant, we really need to have more space on either side here. And that's what I've done. And I think somewhere around here, or there, we will have the Academy of Arcane Science built. But we have some smaller plazas and courtyards that end in the main roads around here. And we will have the smaller roads snake through, like maybe it'll go like this and turn a little bit and go like that. I want the roads to be twisty-turny if possible. Kind of like I've done here with this one. And I haven't laid it out as a straight grid pattern. It's mostly jammed together here and there, as a good medieval city would be. Of course, I do prefer to build my roads in straight lines also. It just makes things nice and easy. Of course, we have about a dozen cities to build in Norrath, so they will all be slightly different, except for probably Quanos will probably look quite a lot like Freeport does. But the other ones will be very different, especially the underground ones. But to finish out today, let's come and take a look at our work that we've done today in the game. And walk along the streets here. The city is starting to come together quite nicely. Of course, most of what we've done here has been an awful lot of copy and paste work, so we've made a lot of rapid progress on that, but things will slow down a little as we get to the finer details, like building out structures here is going to be somewhat slower. And as we're down here walking around, this is quite a good size, I think, for the city. But in between episodes, let me know what you think should be the road color coding for South and East Freeport. I think one of them should definitely be a good green. So we already have white and red, so we need complementary colors. Possibly a good prismarine or a dark prismarine, or possibly both. Might look good for this. What color do you think would best suit the area of the docks? And we also have the Necro and Shadow Knight guilds are going to be down there, so we need a sort of evil color to go down there. But I think we've made quite a lot of progress today on getting these roads laid down. And next time, we need to start identifying where the plots are going to be for the various things we want to put in the city, based off the list of the map I showed you previously. And I want to do those up in a good medieval style. So we need to pick one of these plots and start building one of them, possibly a tavern or inn or shop of some sort. And that's what we will do next time.